All right. Okay, so I got the engine out and I went ahead and took a quick look. Well, I stripped that one first. This is the BAC engine, and I obviously stripped it all down. Took everything I don't need off it. I'm still thinking about the alternator. I don't know if I'm going to leave it or take my one out. The reason I took everything off it is I know my engine. Everything was working with this one. Well, I had it running, but whether the alternator worked and whether it will work, I don't know. I think I'm going to leave the alternator. Alternator wouldn't be too bad to change, even if I was to take just the front bumper off and the radiators to change the alternators, to change the alternator later. So I think I'm going to leave that alone. Other than that, on this side, the only difference there was this little water channel, if you like. Slightly different than what's on this one. I don't know if you can see it. That was slightly different, so I'm gonna swap this. On this side, no difference. And on the back, I was told that I'm gonna have to make something to make the engine mount fit. To be honest with you, it actually fitted, as you can see. I have it bolted. It went exactly the same as where it was on the transporter. The only difference there is instead of being it being bolted it had on the transporter it was bolted by 4 bolts. In this one there's only 3 bolts in, so 2 on top, 1 on the bottom, as this one here is missing. Do I care? No, it's gonna just stay like that. I'm doing nothing with it. The engine mount goes on, it's mounted, it sits on. It's exactly the same spot as where it would be on the transporter, so I'm just gonna send it. Another difference I found on the BAC engine is, as you can see, this BAC engine has a starter at the back, and my understanding is that the block is slightly different because it has the mounting for the starter here, where this one does not. This one, as you can see, it's very dark. Let me just grab a light so you can see. Let me just show you. So the difference that there is this one does not have it. This one, as you can see, it's actually sliced right here. That's where the other starter motor would be. So that's the difference. Then obviously the dipstick is on the back on the transporter, but I have a fix for that, I hope. The turbo, I was told, was supposed to be different, but it's not. It's exactly the same. The mounting is flat. Sometimes they were saying that this mounting here on the bottom is slightly different for the turbo, but I just checked and I have a brand new turbo on this, less than 3 months old, so I'm going to take that turbo off it. I have new exhaust manifold as well, so I'm going to take the turbo and put it onto the other engine. The starter hole, what I'm going to do is, because mine has the starter here, I don't need this starter, so what I'm going to do is I am going to slice it right here, cut it clean off, make a template of that there, make a template, and basically bolt it back down. Just cover the hole so there is no stones or anything getting in there, because that I don't see it being in the way of any sort. So why will I bother? I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Just going to make a template, cut a little bit of steel, a bit of silicone, put the plate on, prevent any stones getting in there, and that should be it. Now I was told that I'm going to have to change the engine, the timing cover, this one here, this aluminium plate, but I don't see a difference. Now I obviously didn't take that gearbox off this one yet, but I'm hoping that the only thing I'm going to have to do is just take that, let's call it a flywheel, take that flywheel off, put whatever is in there, and send it. That's hopefully that's what will happen. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm just going to take the gearbox off this one now, Take the gearbox of this one, see if there is a difference on the what you call it, the timing cover. If there is, I'll swap it. If there isn't, I'm just gonna leave it. And well, I think this is it. I don't know. I was told that there's a lot of difference in them engines from Touaregs, but I don't see it. So hopefully we get lucky. I might have this running by the end of Monday. Yeah, so few bits over. Take the gearbox out of that. See whatever the difference is, if there is. If not, leave it the way it is. Put that gearbox onto that. Swap the exhaust manifold. Swap the turbo. I am going to check the water pump on the new engine just to see what it's like. I think I took the cover off, didn't I? Let's see. Yes, I did. I don't see no play in it as such. It seems to be okay. So, is there any point changing it? I don't know. Now it is easier to change it while I have the engine out, but I don't like to touch things that are okay, because I go in trying to change it, fucking thing is seized to the block, and I'll just end up adding more work to it. Where this one seems to be okay to me, so it's more likely to stay. I will just double check that later, but I think the water pump is gonna stay. I am obviously gonna take the cover off, the valve cover off, see what the camshaft is like, the lifters. If that needs to be changed, I can take the camshaft out, that one, because I did have a new camshaft put into it not far ago. Lifters I can buy, they're not expensive. And hopefully this will work. If it does, well then that's handy, because AXD engine out of a transporter, reconditioned, if you were to buy, it would cost you about 3 grand. This one here, if you want to buy a reconditioned, you're only looking at 1,500 quid. I bought the whole Touareg, a whole car, because it was just easier to buy the car, cheaper to buy a car than to buy an engine. Like I paid 600 quid, 600 euro for a whole Touareg 2006 with 210,000 kilometers on it, so it was just handier. Took me an hour, well, maybe an hour and a half to get the engine out of it. Plus I also got few bits out of it, the likes of exhaust out of the Touareg. Let's see if I can put this on the van. I have both of the old catalytic converters from the Touareg, so that's 200 quid at least. I have the old ECU from the Touareg, so hopefully this will go back on and I won't have to do any remats or anything like that. And bonnet struts, let's say, for example, my one only had this little steel yoke to hold the bonnet up. I am going to put these on, and I have a few other bits that I needed for this van to make it 110%. So that's the update for the time being. Hopefully this engine goes in and there is no much difference in it, and if there is, it's something that can be modified to make it work in the transporter. That would be really nice, because I'm not willing to put 1,000 or 2 grand into that van. Just no way. I already did, and I got the Touareg for it. I spent my time taking the engine out, so if it doesn't work, I'll just stick a match to it. Alright, I'll keep you posted. See ya.